Well, good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you. This is the meeting of the Public Arts Commission of February 8th. I think pulled the wrong one out. Anyway, Rachel, I need to look at something here because I don't think I have a list from
That's okay. Would you like me to read the gubernatorial proclamation?
Well, I have that, but I was looking for the roster of names on the.
Oh, I have it, so I can call the names. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, because it's not on the one that I got. Okay, go ahead, if you would, please.
Absolutely. We called the meeting to order at 4:34. I just wanted to note that because I've noticed recently in meetings that it's helpful when someone says it out loud. So 4:34. And here's the roll. Commissioner Fuller.
Present.
Commissioner Headland.
Present.
Commissioner Modica.
Present.
Commissioner Rose, I believe is absent. Commissioner Shine, Howie. Present. Commissioner Buckman.
Present.
Commissioner Pinilla.
Present.
You have quorum.
Are there any new changes to the agenda today?
There are. I just want to note that meeting minutes for both January 11th and 18th will be moved to next month, but we will be able to review the meeting minutes that were uploaded from December 14th. And I do have Janet Sophie of Urbana Park District also presenting her grant report for the 2021 Bridging the Art Divide this evening. And I need to also note that Giovanna De Benedetto is going to be moving to second in grant presentations. I can make sure that I call those out accordingly, but I want to make sure they're noted as additions or changes to the agenda, I should say.
Thank you so much. Shall I read the proclamation?
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Pursuant to the gubernatorial disaster proclamation and the declaration of emergency for the city of Urbana, Illinois, related to the COVID-19 pandemic, and in accordance with changes to the Open Meetings Act, Public Act PA 101-0640, it has been determined that an in-person public meeting is not prudent or safe at this time. Members of the public body will attend remotely using Zoom webinar. Members of the public may attend via Zoom or view meetings remotely on Urbana Public Television through Comcast Xfinity on channel 6 and 1096, or i3 broadband on channel 6, or AT&T Uverse on channel 99, and streamed on the web at https://livestream.com/Urbana.
Thank you, Barbara.
Welcome.
We do not have any public input this evening, to my knowledge. I do notice that Heather has joined us, Barima, so if you could promote her, I'll note that she is in attendance. Thank you.
So at this point, are we ready for your staff report?
Yes, I'm going to share my screen. So one moment, everyone. I'm doing the two screen thing, so give me 1 second. This is your February 2022 Arts and Culture Commission staff report. I'm going to keep it pretty short this evening because we do have a lengthy agenda. I'll begin by saying that we continue to be impacted by COVID-19. We are proceeding with caution with in-person events and meetings, so really kind of mostly as necessary at this point. We are planning to have the celebration of our Poet Laureate as well as our sneak peek celebration right now as planned as a virtual event. And we are continuing forward with Urbana's youth poet, the Young Artist Studio program as being one that will be held virtually for the foreseeable future as well. Want to take a note of some staffing updates. Our program specialist position is in receiving applications. So we do encourage you to help get the word out about that. It has been advertised largely. It's also available at the City of Urbana job site. You may have seen in our social media accounts and newsletters things going out that look like the top branded marketing about the position. We encourage you to forward that and send it to anyone you think may be interested. I also want to note that we have 2 vacancies now on the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission. Commissioner Ebony Smith no longer is able to kind of make the commitment of the Urbana Arts and Culture Program Commission. So we're going to reopen that as a vacancy. We already had 1 vacancy. And then you should know that last evening, I also presented to the City Council our proposal for adding a youth seat. So as soon as that is accepted, and we hope we'll have a positive acceptance about that, we will be adding the youth seat vacancy as well. So we have a number of vacancies. If you know anyone who would like to join the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission, now's a great time to let them know about what it's like to be a commissioner and really help be ambassadors and stewards of this commission. I want to mention, of course, that the biggest thing of the past month has been focusing on Urbana Arts grants. We concluded the application period for the arts grants and then have really gone full speed ahead into jurying. Obviously, tonight you'll hear a lot of information about that because we'll be discussing not only the recommendation for Tier 3, but we will also be discussing the Tiers 1 and 2 recommendations from the juries for city funding. The jury meetings were held virtually. They were very streamlined, and we did, I think, a great job working with the new software. We also made lots of notes of things that if there is anything we could see maybe become even more streamlined or easier, we made note of that, and I'm in communication with our software company, Neighborly, for kind of attending to that and improving upon it every year. Coming up very soon, we will be opening the applications for Poet Laureate as Ashanti will be concluding her tenure. And we also will be jurying the Youth Poet Laureate in the next couple of weeks. So more announcements will be coming up about these 2 kind of honor positions through the City of Urbana's arts program. I also want to mention that our upcoming event is the Young Artist Studio Create Your Own Self-Portrait with local artist Saba Minetti Tesfaye. Saba was also a recent artist featured in the Growing Community Public Arts Initiative, and you can watch the video and see her talking about her work. We are, of course, continuing this program with the Urbana Free Library as a monthly youth arts program, and it, as I said before, will be continuing virtually for the future for now. We are also periodically offering our art show and tell as a NCAP event to the Youth Young Artist Studio, and that is happening not monthly but quarterly. We also continue to have our Artist of the Quarter juxtaposition, The Art and Words of Durango Mendoza, on display at both the Urbana Free Library and the City Building. You will soon see some announcements about the upcoming exhibit. We are in the process of lots of planning for things like the Great Art Doors, our utility box murals, and Boneyard Arts Festival, all these things being on the horizon. I'm joined tonight by Janet Sosby, and both Janet and I participate in the Urbana planning side of the committee for Boneyard Arts Festival. And so if you're interested as an artist, or you know artists who are interested in getting involved, you can point them to the Boneyard Arts Festival public group on Facebook, or to any of the pages, both from 40 North or from any of the Boneyard Festival specific webpage to get more information about how to get involved. I also serve on the Champaign County African American Heritage Trail Committee, and the committee had a recent retreat and continues to move forward with a lot of planning for that. I'm excited to see how it unfolds, and I'll be giving more updates as things continue there. I want to mention, of course, that I continue to work with the Imagine Urbana Comprehensive Planning Group on upcoming story mapping for Urbana Arts and Culture. We've been working hard on really gathering initial information about the arts and culture landscape for the comp plan that will be then brought to you as a commission and then eventually also brought to the public. They will not be at tonight's meeting. We have moved them to March because of our lengthy agenda. So you will see them at our next commission meeting to talk a little bit about the process and glean your insights about what the comp plan story map should include. Last but not least, we continue to use the COVID-19 relief guide for anyone who reaches out about information related to COVID-19 grants or any sort of financial relief. And that is my short presentation for this evening. Thank you. I'll take any questions you have.
Questions? Rachel, I don't think I have any questions about what you just delivered, but I realized I didn't ask you about, I finally found the right form. We didn't have any public input for today, did we?
No, we did not. Not that I know of.
Okay, good.
So I think at this time we can launch into grant presentations.
Okay.
I do have a question for Sarah. Are you presenting alone this evening, or should we wait for Alice?
No, we're both here
together. Wonderful. I'll let you all take it away. Our first presentation comes from Alice Senzato and Sarah Cofield, presenting the 2021 Urbana Arts Grant, In Between the Places We Meet. You both are welcome to screen share if you have anything that you'd like to use.
Awesome. Give me just a second to get this rolling here. Well, hi, I'm Sarah. I'm Alice.
Welcome.
And let's get this going. Is this how we do it, Alice? Let's see.
There you
Well,
go.
maybe.
Let us know if it's working.
It's working.
All right. How can I get to that guy?
Slideshow there at the top, or yeah, at the bottom, either one. I'll make it.
There we go.
There you go.
Okay. So this is our presentation. So we did a pop-up exhibit that was facilitated with the Art Coop. So basically our proposal was that we were going to build mobile gallery walls and then host our art exhibit at the Lincoln Square Mall. And then we also had a community engagement activity.
Yeah, so quickly just going through the process of our project. First, it was building the gallery walls. We did it inside Sarah's basement, which is why our accounts are all called Project Basement. So we have built those walls so they could be taken into the location later. Then we mounted our artwork and produced the artwork on those walls. And then we mounted the exhibit inside Lincoln Square Mall, right in front of Art Coop. It stayed there for about a week. But on the first day of showing, we did like a little opening event.
All right. So like Alice briefly talked about, we literally did build it in our basement, which was tons of fun. And it was a really great experience getting to work together on that and kind of problem solve some of the issues that you get in building fake gallery walls in a basement. And then
That's us just documenting the artwork before taking it down to move it to the location. When we mounted it in Lincoln Square Mall, we had the help of some volunteers and some friends and our partners as well. And that's another shot of the completed artwork inside of our gallery.
all right. So for we kind of already went over the art installation, which was 2 individual pieces that kind of worked together and communicated together inside of the exhibit. But for marketing, we did work with a writer at Smile Politely and advertising, of course, digitally, like online media with our
Instagram accounts.
Thank you. My brain left me for a moment. And then also for our just some more close-ups here. And then we also did, like Alice was talking about, like an opening event where we had a community engagement activity where we made miniature pop-up galleries for the community to either complete there with us at the opening event.
Or take it home
Or-
as a little art kit.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's the page showing there is what we sent with the art kits with some instructions on how people could do these at home. So the kit had some drawing materials, some paper, and a little poster board pre-cut template that they could mount as their mini gallery. That's just a little shot of how it looks like when you put it together. And that's during the day of the opening. How we did it, we had a table right beside our exhibit with the distribution of these art kits, and some people could come up and do it on site as well.
and it was tons of fun. Lots of people of all ages came up and grabbed them and sat there at the table. So you can kind of see us here. We had a lovely table assistant while we talked with people who stopped by. So for the future use for our gallery walls, we are actually planning to host mini pop-up gallery events with local artists. So we already have another local artist and crafter in town who we have been communicating with to have a little mini gallery night for them. We're kind of playing it by ear with how COVID conditions are within the city. But when we do a project with another artist, it'll probably be, fully vaxxed and fully masked to be able to get in, and only a certain number of people at a time. But so we already have one artist lined up, and we're really excited to try and find a few more in the community to be able to host that and other artists.
For further community engagement too, people basically have taken those kids home, so they kept playing with them and working with them even as early as last month. I think I was still getting pictures from someone that did them in their house and stuff. We have some activities planned out where this idea of the little poster board mini gallery can be taken into other events and projects as well as activities to do with groups of people.
Yeah. All right. And then there's us. And was there any questions or anything anybody would like any more clarification on?
Yeah, we tried to keep it as short as
Yeah.
possible, but if you want to ask anything.
Everyone got instructions to keep it short and sweet this evening, but I want to first give you all a round of applause. Wonderful project. What
Thank
questions
you.
do we have for Alice or Sarah? And just for anyone who's with us this evening, questions can only come from commissioners. I'm saying that because I know we have a lot of guests this evening. But questions from commissioners?
This isn't a question. I'm real happy that you plan on reusing this as a pop-up all over the place so that you'll get a lot of more. It won't. Yes, period.
It'll get more use. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the idea to start with. Of course, we wanted to do our own artwork and display.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But the idea of using the grant funds to make these walls instead of just us going to a gallery was so we could keep this going, hopefully.
So I recall that we had talked early about interest in collaborating with teachers, and for anyone who sought to do that this past year, it was incredibly difficult with everything going on, facing the schools, the pandemic. It's been really tough. That said, going forward, I would encourage you to think about this as a possible young artist studio presentation that could be given, especially the mini art gallery is what I'm speaking to, but artists using that as an opportunity to inspire young people by sharing their work and then offering the activity is a great way to make use of Young Artist Studio. So definitely think about that. It's been a way for us to move forward, reaching young people even without perhaps the route of the school. And then, continuing to maybe offer it as a possible supplementary, like, curriculum for some of the art teachers in the schools, I think it would be a wonderful way to invite some interesting things in the arts classroom for any
Yes.
age, truly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The template itself is something that we've already shared with other people, and we plan on it being something that people can replicate even if they don't get our art kits or anything like that. But now seeing even your presentation talking about the Young Artist Studio, at first we weren't sure what kind of age range our art activity would cater to. We collaborated with one former art teacher from Urbana. Her name is Kinsey. I forgot her last name.
Kinsey
You probably
Fitzgerald.
know her. Yeah. Yes, that's her. So she helped us like think about the age range for the activity and stuff. And basically, it's from really young kids up all the way to adults. So thinking about that, the Young Artist Studio is definitely something that could be done with for this activity.
Especially in this time where we're doing virtual events, the way that we structured Young Artist Studio is to put together an art kit that people pick up in advance and then can follow along with the Zoom presentation from home. So it'd be very fitting for that. So if you are interested, and I'll encourage you to get in touch with me, I'd be happy to have it be a part of Young Artist Studio.
Okay, cool. We were definitely pleasantly surprised on the
Yes.
opening day of how kids were interested, because we don't have direct experience teaching art to kids. So we were very happy to see
Yes.
that they were like all about it. Basically.
We were delighted.
Yeah.
It
I
was
think
awesome.
kids are just really ready for conceptual art in more ways than we give them
I
credit
agree.
for. Real
Yeah.
openness. Years and years ago, I was a recipient of Urbana Arts Grant, and it was only to fund basically a radio program where I brought kids to see different kinds of conceptual art. So I'm a big fan of putting conceptual art in front of young people. I think it's great. Yeah. Wonderful. Any other questions? Yeah, Barbara, go ahead.
I was curious if you tracked your attendance and what kind of response you got after the event. Did you get a lot of feedback from the attendees? And how many people do you estimate that attended your event that day?
So we tried at first to kind of keep an eye on like who was coming in and kind of the age range, but we like very strategically planned the opening day to be on the first day of the winter Urbana's Farmers Market. And so there were
extremely busy.
yes, there were so many
Yeah.
people. I mean, pretty much, and it also correlated with the Ikebana exhibit done by Japan
Yes.
House. And so there were multiple art events going on at the same time. And then we had, I mean, there was just hundreds of people who came through that day.
But tracking exact numbers is not something that
Yeah, that the exact numbers was not something we were
It
able.
was very busy though, and it did stay for the whole week as well. So even though Lincoln Square doesn't get that much traffic, whoever passed by there definitely passed by our exhibit too.
Yeah.
And like Art Coop customers as
Yes.
well. Art Coop told us that their customers would like stop in front and ask about them and stuff like that.
Yeah, they would come into the art coop and ask questions about it. And so we kind of kept in contact with them while the project was open. And
And art kits were actually the remaining art kits that weren't distributed the day of the opening. They stayed at Art Coop, and not a lot because there wasn't a lot left.
no, they were grabbed up.
Some of them were picked up during the week as well.
Yeah.
Do you know how many you made total?
We did 43, I believe.
Wow. That's great.
Well, obviously you had a bigger impact and you had a lot of exposure and you picked the perfect day. That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a happy coincidence. We
Yes.
weren't planning at first, but the fact that it was sort of at the same hour and day
Yeah.
of those other events did help a lot with attendance and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
All right. Thank you very much to both of you.
Yes. Well, thank
Thank
you.
you.
We definitely are very honored that we were able to work with the Urbana's Arts program to make this project happen. So thank you all.
Yeah, we're both not from the area, but we've been living here for a few years. So the fact that we were granted with this funding to do this project meant a lot to us, definitely made us feel closer to the art community here in town as well. We met a ton of people because of it. So for us, that's what it was all about.
It was wonderful. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Giovanna Di Benedetto presenting the 2019 Recipes for Healing. And I am going to be Giovanna's Vanna White. In other words, I will advance some slides.
Yeah.
And
So,
just a
and
moment.
And I'm going to read from the report that I submitted just because I'm not good with technology despite the last year. So it would not go well. So
Can you all see this?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Giovanna.
so Recipes for Healing. Give me 1 second. So, what last roll? There's the buns. Yes, I bought Hawaiian roll buns and I'm presenting. I need you. Give me 5 minutes.
Somebody said hello.
I apologize, guys. As soon as I need to, Lily, I bought Hawaiian hamburger bun rolls. Read the package. I am so sorry.
You're so fine. Go forward.
I'm hiding out in Lily's room on purpose. And then, so, okay. Let's see if we can do this again. So Recipes for Healing is a book that will help educate people about abuse and give hope to victims by combining personal stories and poetry from survivors with recipes that they tie into their stories. The book will also be printed in a pocket-sized version that will be available for those still stuck in a cycle of abuse, allowing them to easily hide it and giving them something to let them know that they are not alone. For the initial planning in 2019, can't believe it's been that long, we launched a call for stories and recipe submissions through a partnership with Courage Connections. The advocates at Courage Connections distributed the call to survivors, utilizing their services to invite the general public. We also set up a table at Friday Night Live, which is what you see pictures, most of these were from. The Urbana's Downtown Get Down and Open Scene Open Mic. The table included activities to support learning about domestic violence and an opportunity to submit words of encouragement to survivors anonymously on note cards that would be compiled for the project. The cards were also shared with survivor groups and used to directly encourage survivors of domestic violence. Poetry and survivor stories from Recipes for Healing were shared at public readings, including Poets at the Post and Open Scene Mic. Initial submissions were reviewed by advocates and social workers from Courage Connections, and all agreed it was ready to go for an initial print. And that's the booklet that was ready. Courage Connection had created go bags, which were a drawstring bag with a manila envelope for important documents and toiletries, coloring books for the kids, some clothes, basically something that if they had to get out in a hurry, they could grab it and everything they needed was in it. They could hide it wherever just so that the abuser would not find it. These were going to be distributed. The name of the booklet is Recipes for Hope. And Carle Hospital's mobile unit offered to help with distribution once the booklet is ready, along with Courage Connections has plans to use it in other agencies. COVID-19 challenges, like so many of us, right before the pandemic hit, we had found a publisher for the booklet, but lockdown forced our efforts to a halt. Events and word of mouth efforts lessened with shelter in place orders, and we needed to press pause on the project. Most importantly, during that time, I pivoted to create Silver Hearts, a community unification organization that operated, among other efforts, a food distribution for the Silverwood neighborhood that serves 250 plus households fresh food during the pandemic and continues today. Silver Hearts has a steering committee of 3 people and over 100 volunteers, I hope it's more than one, to deliver food and groceries monthly. The group has also offered pandemic safe outdoor gatherings where activities for families were offered in collaboration with the Urbana Park District. Silver Hearts has received significant local recognition for these efforts, including news articles, grants, donations, non-financial help from the city of Urbana, including city staff volunteering at events with distribution. And this effort has really taken center stage during the pandemic. What you're seeing here is volunteers bagging the food and then gathering for a little roundabout beforehand. And my favorite part of the project, the one up in the corner, is we actually we deliver to Steer Place. So our seniors are getting food monthly now also. So the project accomplishments, at the end of one of my poems, I'm sorry, I have a crying child in there. One of the poem at the very end of my book says, "The vase gives and the vase receives," because when we come out on the other end, we're different and we're better than we were, obviously, through the abusive situations. So Recipes for Healing is a book that is still in progress, and it includes my biography, where I share my personal abuse stories and how they drove me to create this specific book. Additional chapters focus on emotional and mental abuse, physical abuse, financial abuse, child abuse, church abuse, you name it. It's got a chapter in there right now, and focus on finding the strength to leave. The book includes poetry, personal survivor stories submitted anonymously, and actual recipes that have meaning for survivors connected to their own stories of trauma, healing, and resilience. The last and final chapter of the book includes powerful illustrations and poems from child survivors. The Recipes for Hope booklet details the personal story of one survivor, from falling in love to the onset of abuse and its escalation to leaving an abusive relationship and healing in the aftermath. The booklet is smaller and easier to conceal and has space also for hiding important information a survivor may need, including phone numbers and other personal information. And a personal note, that booklet is actually, that story is my daughter's story. So a lot of proud mama moments in there. The Words of Support cards, a simple activity conceived of for our outreach tables, have now become a part of the book and allow non-survivors and survivors alike to directly offer supportive words for anyone reading the chapters. The grant allowed us to complete public readings at Poets at the Post and Open Scene Mic at Cunningham Township Supervisor's Office. The future of the project and the directions. This grant, funded at 50% of the original ask, did not afford us the full opportunity to go to print. We are still seeking funding to print the actual book, and while online is possible, the print copy is important to us, as many of the women survivors we work with neither have access or guaranteed privacy of a computer. We hope to continue this book project. Actually, this project will continue, and publish both the Recipes for Healing book and the Recipes for Hope booklet, and distribute them with the help of partnering agencies like Courage Connections and Carl Miller Health Clinic. We also were gonna, we'll be continuing to do this work through Silver Hearts. Silver Hearts is going to get behind this project as much as we can. And I also just want to wrap this up by saying thank you for, and now I'm going to cry, for believing in this project and for believing in me, because it really came out of Rachel and I going way back to my DV work. And we go, I have this crazy idea for this crazy book. And I didn't think anyone would like it. It was hard enough for me to explain food, and it's just never been done. And so the fact that, you guys took it and you got behind me, and even though I haven't been able to complete it, the booklet's ready to go. We just got to find the funding, and that Rachel knows is my passion because that will save lives. I've talked to I've talked with the National Abuse Hotline, and they would like the book when it's, the booklet. So this is huge. And the fact that you guys believed in me, believed in this project and the lives that you are touching, the child chapter, my middle, the one that was in here first, got on board, and she's like, I want to talk about what happened. Can I write a book? So I gave her a chapter in the book, and that's how the children. So know that no matter how small the grant or how big, for me and my family, and for the community around us that works in domestic violence, you have made a huge difference. And I cannot thank you guys enough for that. So thank you.
Thank you, Giovanna. What questions do we have for Giovanna? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you all can see each other easier. Questions or comments from commissioners?
I like your logo. Who designed it?
My former board member that did all our graphics and stuff. I really wanted something that represented, that we did that graphic before all the race commotion and all that, all the stuff we've been in the middle of. And so thank you. I will pass the word along because I love it too. I can't wait to see it,
Very cool.
print.
As a book cover, yes. That's very
It's actually, and it actually is on the Recipes for Hope book in the very bottom. So it's not real big because obviously we want to be discreet with this, but I was a giddy little girl the first time I saw that book in the hard copy print that we have and saw it. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Soon enough.
Is it available in the public library yet?
I'm sorry?
Is it available at the public library yet?
No, we're looking for funding for the booklet right now. The actual book I am still writing because COVID put a halt to it. But the booklet that is meant to hide all those phone numbers and everything, we now need to find a different printer because, that was 2 years ago. That booklet that's become my big passion. That one we did have a hard copy of. And it got lost with the agency it was with when COVID hit. But we just need to find funding to print that booklet. And we have agencies lined up to get that out to victims because I know I have to wrap it up, but one of abusers, one of their favorite things to do now is to take this, and so many victims won't leave because where's our life in our phone? And they have no way, if they leave, who are they going to call with all that? So this booklet will afford them a chance to put all of that information in something that will hides it from an abuser. And they're able to hide that booklet. And then that is no longer an issue. They know that they can run and get to safety very quickly and safely. So that's our next thing. While I'm writing the bigger book, we need to get this booklet to print. So.
Other questions for Giovanna? I just have to take a moment to, go ahead, Sarah. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, Giovanna, I just want to thank you for all of your hard work on this project. I think this is, wow, I was really, moved by your presentation and just all of the work that you've put into this. So thank you so much. And it's really amazing to see, this funding go to such a meaningful project that will have lasting effects. And I love that you've worked with so many different partners on this project. And I just wanted to say great job.
Thank you. And Rachel has a copy of the final booklet if you guys want to see it, that she does have. So.
And I just have to add to just more of a comment than a question, but I have to shout out Giovanna, as I do a lot of our artists who pivoted really well with their project and adapting it, not only sometimes because they had planned for a budget that was funded at 100%. And if they were funded less, they already had to think about how they were going to adapt. But then on top of it, the pandemic. But especially because Giovanna has been an absolute leader in her neighborhood and in the community. And I'm really glad that you included some of your work about Silver Hearts in this presentation and in the report, because Silver Hearts and food distribution programs like it in town have been absolutely a lifeboat for so many people in this pandemic. And so I think of you as somebody that doesn't get enough recognition for just the tremendous amount of work that you are doing voluntarily in the community to make sure people eat and are safe and have safe homes and safe places. So I just want to throw some praise on you and thank you for all your hard work. And I'm excited because I know you'll finish with the book and it will go to print. And what you were able to accomplish with assembling it and the outreach that you did, I think is a wonderful reflection of the power of the grant as well. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again, you guys, for the opportunity. It was awesome. I'm going to skedaddle then.
Yeah.
We're killing each other.
Oh,
Rachel
one moment. Frank, did you have a question for Giovanna?
Yeah, just a real quick question. Are you looking to, how far in the future are you looking at projecting going with this? Is this something that has legs?
Oh, yeah, it definitely has legs. The booklet, like I said, the victim booklet is ready to go. I need money to either print it or a printing company that is willing to print it, because it is a specialized print, because there is a page with instructions for victims that has to be torn out. So it's not like Silver Hearts can print it from our printer. We looked into it. So that I would like, if someone were to offer me the money tomorrow or a way to print it, I would do that. The book I know has legs. We did do some pivoting with that. Survivors are a lot of survivors are very guarded about their stories. So we pivoted to plan 2, thanks to Rachel and Courage Connections, which was rely on your own experience. And there's more than enough, because, victims tend to repeat until we learn not to repeat. So I have started actually writing that, the book outside of the poetry. And as soon as I can, it'll be done. And I will definitely, I want it to go to print. And again, national hotline for domestic violence, like everyone's waiting for both of these. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Frank, are you asking this because you too are a published poet and may have some advice to offer?
I don't have direct advice right now, but maybe we can sidebar at a different time about this.
Well, that's what I think.
don't know.
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So Rachel, if you can connect us, then that would be. I've shed a lot of tears during COVID that I couldn't get that booklet out, because we know violence went up, and we just, how do you get people to safety? How do you hide it? There's so many issues, and I just need a printer. That's all we need. So, but thank you, Frank. I look forward to setting up some time to talk with you and get advice from you, so that both parts of this project can go forward. So
it's an ongoing learning experience for both of us.
Yeah, well, it's true for anyone, who self-publishes, for sure. We have to move on now, folks, but I'll be sure to connect you. And thank you again, Giovanna, for your presentation.
And thank you very much. I got a jet to go to another meeting and do with them. So, okay.
Take good care.
You too. Bye.
Bye. Next up, we have Matt Harsh of Harsh Pro presenting the 2019 Urbana Arts Grant Video Spotlight Urbana. I'm also going to be Matt's Vanna White, so let me get your presentation up here just a second, Matt. All right, can everybody see this? Excellent. Go ahead, Matt, whenever you're ready. You were with us there for a second, but maybe you dropped off.
He signaled that he needed a moment.
Okay. Just going to message him real quick. Otherwise, we can go to Janet and then come back to Matt. So hold on one second. He may be having some internet issues for a moment, but let me just stop sharing. There we go. Okay, he just messaged me that he needs to switch computers. So I'm going to have you go, Janet, if you're ready. So Janet Sosby's here from Urbana Park District to present the 2021 Urbana Arts Grant, Bridging the Art Divide.
Hi, thanks for having me. Before I start, I do want to let people know that it was delayed a couple days due to the blizzard, but the Best in Show photo competition is up at Lincoln Square right now. So the photos will be up through Sunday, I'm going to say noon. So we got 289 great photos. So if you're going to Baldorados for a sandwich or you're going to Art Coop, swing by and see the photos. They're all amateur photographers and there's some really nice stuff. And it's our 21st annual competition. And I love it. It's one of my favorite things. All right, so I can share my screen, right, Rachel?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Awesome.
We good?
Yep, I see it. Mm-hmm.
All right, so I am presenting on our Bridging the Art Divide project, which we developed specifically just for the Urbana Arts Grant. And so this was this past summer. Oh, how can I?
Might have to use those arrows, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
this is the timeline. You folks know the timeline. You were there. That's the bridge that we were presenting artists for their opportunity to put up their work. So we dummied up that look so people could kind of get a look at where their art was going to go in Crystal Lake Park. These are the goals that we addressed. These were in my report. One of the things we were so excited about this is that it was open to all artists. You didn't have to be a professional. You could be someone who's never made art before. There wasn't a fee to enter. So it was really open to everybody. So we were really encouraging emerging artists, all different art forms. We really tried a lot of different ways to get the call out to increase the beauty in Crystal Lake Park. If you've been to the park, the big ongoing project, we've seen lots of improvements and we thought the park could use even more pop of color, and that bridge is just asking for some art on it. And Nikki Hoseman, who doesn't work with us anymore, we were trying to think of a place to host art. You know, we don't have a brick wall where we can do murals. And so she had the idea of using the bridge. So we're really excited about it. And it looked really very sweet. So we did our call and we kind of looked at we have an arts and culture matrix team that's made up of staff from different departments throughout the district. And so we were wanting to promote some of the things that our strategic plan was focusing on. And so we thought, let's make different categories and we'll have all these different categories. So we really, one of our goals for our Arts and Culture Matrix team was to get some artwork by Black, Indigenous, and artists of color. And then we also had some themes based on our strategic plan, the elements and the climate and wellness and You Belong Here, which is our big philosophy of the Park District. And so we had all these 12 categories, and then we got 53 submissions by 23 artists. And the 3 categories that we really specifically created to look at our strategic plan pillars did not get any entries. So we had wellness, climate, and the BIPOC artists that did not get any submissions. But we did get a lot of really great submissions in other categories. So I thought I would share with you one submission each by the artists that did turn in work. Some of these were different pieces than the ones we selected, but the same artist. I thought you just might like to see just the wide array of talent and all the different mediums. There's printmaking and photography and graphic design, and there's lino cut printing, there's assemblage, acrylic painting, oil painting. We just saw so much really neat stuff. And like Rachel mentioned, I've been working with the Boneyard Arts Festival since it started, and I've been on several different arts panels, and it was really neat for me to see art by people whose names I didn't know and whose work I'd never seen before. So it was really exciting. We got some entries by artists that we've never had enter in things before. So the fact that we had new people were super exciting for us. Also really cool is the art teacher at Urbana High School. She took all of the work by some students and she made these collages. For the scale of how they had to be seen from far away, they just wouldn't have had an impact, but we liked them so much. We actually made up an honorable mention and we put it on the website. So the artwork went on the bridge, and we also had a web page that they could see the write-up about the artist and get a short artist statement and see the image on the bridge. So we actually included these works by the Urbana High School art students so that they were able to get some recognition for their works. So they didn't make the bridge, but they made the website because we liked it so much. Our jury was that arts and culture team, and then we also added 2 of our Urbana Park District Advisory Committee members. Tomas Delgado and Jean Paley sat in, and we had a 3-hour jury session to pick these 12 final pieces. And then we actually went outside and put them out and looked at them in the light and actually chose the exact order that they got mounted on the bridge. And we did that cooperatively, which was really a lot of fun. So this was one side of the bridge. We had them printed on these 4-foot by 4-foot panels. They look very small there on the bridge, but when they were sitting in my office, they're, I'm only a foot taller than those panels. So they're really quite large. And after the project came down, the artists got to take their panels home, and a lot of them were very excited to get their work printed that huge, and they looked really gorgeous. So that's our bridge that the artwork was on. We had planned a boating party, and 2 days before our party was scheduled, our boat dock had a structural issue and the lake house had to completely shut down early. It was also like 95 degrees out, and so it's kind of funny to me that the 4 oldest artists are the ones who came out in the heat for a little party for the bridge. So that was our 4 artists that came out for a nice reception that we had. This project was really exciting. We can't count how many people saw it. What was great is it was visible from the road, so it was very accessible for everyone to see. We had 700 people go on boats in the month of August, so we know they got to enjoy the art, and we had about 1,500 people come to Turkey Trot. And what was really cool is some of the artists donated some pieces, and we made a couple gift packs for our Turkey Trot raffle. So we had a very special Bridging the Art Divide raffle prize for Turkey Trot. And that Turkey Trot, we didn't get to do it the year before, so it was a very big event, and a lot of people jogged right past the bridge. And I heard several people remark on what a neat project it was in the park, kind of added to their experience. And that's my presentation. Thank you so much for supporting the project. We really loved getting to add some new artwork to the park, especially in times of when, people were walking a lot more in the park. We're having a lot more park visitors. People want to be outdoors. They want to be safe. And so, for a COVID project, this was the perfect kind of thing. The artists got to submit their work digitally. I sent it to the printer digitally. Our ops guys mounted it on the bridge, which I really wish I could have seen how they got that done. I don't know how that happened, but I wasn't there for when they actually hung the artwork. But it was a very exciting project to do during COVID, and just to keep everybody safe and to be able to enjoy art in the park setting was something we were very excited to do.
Thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
Wonderful work. I'm going to go to questions, but right before I do, Barema, can you promote Matt back in here just so he can start to get settled because he's next? And in the meantime, what questions or comments do we have for Janet?
I just have a comment, and it's a congratulatory one. I saw the exhibit. I drove through the park, and I was amazed I've lived here a long time, and I had no idea actually how big that park is. I've actually either been on one end or the other, but never driven through the entire park. And I saw the exhibit and I thought it was extraordinary.
Thank you. Yeah, it's my favorite park. It's the oldest park in the park district.
Mm-hmm.
Are we planning on doing more of these?
Well, that's up to your grant panel. I did submit another grant application for one in conjunction with the Champaign County African American Heritage Trail. So
if you hang out, you'll hear the results because they're presented this evening as one of the next agenda item.
Alrighty.
In two agenda items. Go ahead, Frank.
How did people treat the art? Was it respected? Were there any
yes.
issues?
We had 0 issues. There were no vandalism, no tampering. They were all in great condition.
Right. Yeah.
I and my family boated underneath them, and it was really, really fun to actually use the boat to go see them on both sides, up close and personal. They are huge, actually, and I love that. I was able to take a picture of them from far away by the street, but then to be up really close and see how big they were was wonderful.
Yeah, they made a real impact.
I hope the park district considers permanently putting art on the bridges because I think it's a brilliant idea.
I think so too. I think also, the park, we've had one round of improvements, more are coming, and that bridge is slated to be replaced at some point, not anytime soon, but I think looking at the bridges and how they contribute to the overall look of the park, you could tell that bridge really needed some prettying up. So we were glad to do it.
There's been so many wonderful improvements of that park as a big feature of the park district. And between arts activity that we have frequently at the lake house, and the park district is going to be the site of one of our utility box murals this spring, right there near the lake house, and it'll be visible from the walkway and everything. It's just lovely to see it as this little arts corridor in Urbana. Mm-hmm. Wonderful. Well, thank you, Janet.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good to see you.
All right, Matt, are you ready? Try to unmute and we can make sure we can hear you.
Yeah,
there you are.
Can you hear me now? All right, good.
Yeah, let me share my screen real quick.
Okay.
So I can make sure you got your presentation.
All right, yeah, sorry about the technical difficulty. I'm sure you guys have that a lot.
Neither the first nor the last that will have technical difficulties. You're fine. Right. Go for it.
So my project was Video Spotlight Urbana, and initially the idea was to film several concerts and interviews with artists and create episodes of a video show showcasing that. And so I started planning all of that in 2019, and then by the time I got going with it, things kind of switched up with COVID and everything. And so I kind of pivoted. I've delayed quite a while not knowing. Obviously all the venues shut down. It was really difficult. We didn't know when things were going to open back up. And, honestly, I kind of lost vision on it for a little while just because I didn't know exactly what was going to happen or when I was going to be able to do it. But with that, I kind of pivoted and decided to do more shoots that weren't live shoots at concerts and set up these shoots that were in more of in private places. And actually, it opened up an opportunity to do some cool stuff with production and to do some more interesting things with these artists. And the artists themselves, most of them live in Urbana and Urbana residents, which is really cool to showcase that. Michael Linder is a really talented musician, Louis Pappas, who's Louis in several bands in town, and that's the Bridge Trolls. And Trouble Chasing is a hip hop duo from Champaign-Urbana that's done quite a bit of stuff. And Two-Legged Zoo being a producer, makes beats and compositions. And I collaborated with them to shoot some stuff. And specifically, the most interesting thing would be the Bridge Trolls, I think. We ended up going under a bridge over by the Boneyard on Ray Street and setting up under the bridge and setting up mics, 4 mics, and I shot with 3 cameras. And the idea of the Bridge Trolls was Louis and Linder, they go out a lot of times to like Kickapoo and places like that. And they wanted to do this like, what do they call, like busking, but busking with electronics, like out. So what they did was they rigged up, their setup was all run off of a car battery. So he was able to set up a drum machine and a sampler and everything and run all of that electronics off of a car battery, but be portable, which is really cool. So we went under that bridge and recorded the whole thing. And then I edited it together later and mixed all the footage to a pretty cool composition.
I can show you that composition now? Yep.
Yeah.
Hold on real quick. I'm going to stop share and reshare it because I do have it pulled up.
And this is just a brief, like under a minute of it, but you'll see like it's kind of using some of the environment and stuff, and as well as with the music and filming them playing live too.
Can you all see my screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Can you hear it?
Oh wait, no, I see your desktop, not the video.
Oh, hold on.
Desktop, you've got a lot of things on your desktop.
Hold on real quick. There we are. See it now?
It's loading.
Sorry,
yes.
The anticipation. Okay.
Right here.
I believe I've got the volume up. You hear it?
So it's like overlaying. All right, that's just a little teaser. But that's it was cool to like overlay the different stuff to kind of show the environment of where they were, and that's a live recording, live mics, And the cool thing was to get the sound of the under the bridge, and that was a really cool project to do. So in Trouble Chasing, we ended up doing shooting in a studio in Urbana, in a basement studio, and setting up a couple cameras and shooting with a multicam thing and shooting several songs of theirs. And that was just with some basic lighting and And then Two-Legged Zoo, I did video projection behind them with some visuals and things like that. So it was really cool to have that level of production where I wouldn't have been able to have that level of production if I had tried to do like more of a concert setting. So yeah, but the episodes will be basically performances, but I also added in one music video that I produced and directed from 2 different artists, one per episode. So I created 2 episodes of the show, and each episode will feature a music video that I produced. And actually, most of those people are Urbana residents too, so that's very Urbana centric. But yeah, that's the general. So overall, between all of that, it was, let's see, probably 4 artists were highlighted in all of this, and created 2 full-length episodes that basically featured the performances and the music videos interspliced with interviews with artists. So overall, and then it will be on HarshPro, my YouTube, and UPTV. I plan to submit it to UPTV and have it shown on there as much as they would like to show it. So I would like to keep this going as a series. I think it would be a really good opportunity to showcase not only musical acts, but integrate more interviews with visual artists, and that's an element that I intended to have be stronger in this, but because of COVID and the pivot, it wasn't as clear. But to showcase visual artists and show their work and have them talk about their process or talk about all the things that they do. So the plan is to try to do that moving forward. But I also, the video, the setting up the video, we're definitely going to do more bridge troll stuff under different bridges and try to go to different places. Not necessarily in Urbana. There's definitely other bridges in Urbana that we would use, but some other bridges all over the place. And it would be cool to record those. But we'd also would like to work on maybe live streaming that too, because that could be really interesting. I mean, it might be difficult technically, but it might be something that we would try to do. So going forward, I think that's what we'll try to do more episodes and whatnot. But overall, the whole project was great. I mean, it was a challenge to kind of figure out what I was going to do, and there was a little. I was hesitant because it wasn't my initial vision, and I kind of wanted it to represent me well, wanted it to represent my intentions, but. I'm happy with what it became. So thank you, and I appreciate the support.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Questions for Matt Harsh about Video Spotlight Urbana?
You think there would be a way to get more viewers by maybe projecting some of this stuff as leaders in some of the other things that the Culture Committee sponsors, like not just Pygmalion, but like it's likely that we'll sponsor something next year for Rose Bowl that is attractive to the community, and to maybe have a screen like a leader. It used to be a long time ago that at the Art Theater, people could submit slideshows that would show, before the movie.
Oh yeah.
And so if you can think of now that was long ago, but there must be a parallel now for what you do, because the people will be there.
Right.
And there's always downtime. So if there's a way for you to project, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, there would be. I mean, we're doing more shows with projection. We do shows with music and visual projections, and they could be included in that as like a segment. As far as like you said, kind of as like a, before the show, just while people are waiting or while other musicians are setting up, we could play that and have the audio. Yeah, that's a great idea. I definitely could do that.
You're talking to the right person about it, Howie, because Matt already is like the projection guy in Champaign-Urbana. Some of the things you mentioned on your slide, Matt, that were kind of future projects included like your SIP yard work and stuff like that. So if you had seen any projection art during things like Boneyard Arts Festival, Wednesdays at SIP Yard, that's all been Matt's work. So I think I want to echo Howie there and say if there's opportunities for you to even project some of these music videos and things that you've made and video spotlight, I think it would be lovely. And certainly, you know, as we return to more in-person events, approach me about it too, because there might be opportunities for us to tie it into any programs that we're doing with the arts program. I have dreams of like what you do at SIP Yard with the big wall projections, having that all over downtown, like having all kinds of little things. I remember a few years ago going to kind of through the French Quarter of New Orleans and seeing just like a big documentary that somebody had made locally, just projected on the whole side of a building, and everyone was just sitting out watching it. But it was really just intended to be like as you pass by. And I really think of your work at SIP Yard in a similar way. Like, you know, you can come by, you can listen to music, you can enjoy the projection, but you can also keep moving. You know, you can go on to the next show or whatever. You're not obligated to sit and stay. Yeah, I have to shout out Matt too, because you were a part of the Cinema and Sound, and that was a big program of ours during the pandemic, and even a little before. But that kind of thing is where you do usually sit down and you stay. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think of this as something where maybe you could create more of those as you do these environmental experiences that people can kind of flow through.
Actually, that's a really good idea. If you guys do new Cinema and Sound, more movies, like playing little clips like this, and I would love to put together content of local people, whether it's music videos or live footage. I know Rose Bowl has a ton of footage of bands,
so much,
and that could easily go over to and be played at those events. It'd be cool.
And what you were referring to, Howie, was like some of the things that almost function like trailers at the art theater, but they weren't, right? I think of that in a similar way. We did something called the Interdependent Film Festival at the IMC years ago, and we had shorts and then we had the feature. And every night it was a short and a feature. So that could be really interesting to think about too, is if they are shortened. So Video Spotlight Urbana is specific to kind of thinking about music, but of course we've had our own art now for many years too. So thinking about those episodes and how they might complement each other could be fun too. It's great to highlight all of the artists in our scene, and the pivot that you made towards also doing music videos. I particularly love it because it's so much, it's very artistic. Yeah. And I was noting with the Bridge Trolls in particular, there's the experimental kind of electronic music is so layered. So the fact that your visuals are also layered is just really goes very well.
It definitely complements the aesthetic very well. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And like, it's cool because at certain times there's a wall behind them, but the overlay looks like I'm projecting behind them of the landscape, which is really cool. It's you'll see in the final thing, there's a lot more to it, and it's real cool.
And that's another place that, we've had Cinema and Sound, but we've put a screen, and Matt actually was one of the people that helped us create Cinema and Sound setup and decide how the screen was going to go. But, even under the bridge for something smaller, you could project underneath those bridges and stuff too. So definitely be thinking of that as we think of new programs to do.
Mm-hmm. For sure. Barbara, go on.
Oh, okay. I was thinking you inspired me to think of even Lincoln Square. I remember years ago, we used to try to think about how to project on the outside of the buildings and have people in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I know we have a bunch of pop-up screens that are real easy, like they're like spandex, and you can just zip tie them and pop them up places. So and we have stands that can go up too. So it's like, we really can, covering a whole giant wall is great. If there's a place where we need to put a screen up, we can do those. And I've always, the wall between the IMC and the wall between the IMC and Lincoln Square, it's definitely a cozy little place that could do some kind of projection and stuff.
And the IMC's been doing more events out there recently too.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, Howard. Oh, I'm sorry, Barbara.
The only other thing I was gonna add is appreciated watching your program with Basha Latovic at the Sip Yard and
Mhm.
giving exposure to local musician artists.
Yeah, we've been really trying to definitely incorporating not just electronic music or DJs, but like classical musicians that we're friends with. Our friend Mona Fang also played piano at another event. So that's kind of built into our formula now. It's kind of like having this, classical artists kind of open and kind of like, it lends really well to the visuals for sure.
It did.
Yeah.
She's an artist that I collaborate with a lot, and I watched it specifically because of her, but I was pleasantly surprised how it all came together.
Yeah, it becomes like with them. I mean, electronic dance music and other live music is great, but like the classical music with the visuals is kind of magical. It gets,
Yeah.
Great.
Howard, what did you want to say?
Two things. In the parking lot directly north of the Courier parking lot, there's a wall with a projection on it. And I've seen people do drive-in movies there. Someone just, I don't know how it worked. Someone just seemed to appear with a projector. And so it's just right there. And it's still kind of there, I think. Might need new
It
painting.
was actually funded by an arts grant.
Oh,
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, it's the Urbana Love Summer movie screen you're talking about. That's Matt Cho's movie screen. Yeah. Mhm.
And the other place that would be collaborative, to me, one of the most underutilized, really cool places is the outdoor amphitheater on the Cranard deck.
Oh yeah.
I know.
And way long ago, I hung out with a group of people, and every once in a while, we would just go there and have a happening.
Yeah.
I never see the place utilized, and it's a beautiful, beautiful area.
Beautiful.
And if you have pop-up screens.
Yeah, that'd be
All
great.
you need is Cranard to say okay, and then you get university and local community into a common space. And you would probably get lots of walk-by as well. I don't know, lots, but it
Right. Some.
So file
Yeah,
these
no,
away as other ideas for potential arts grants or continuations of your project. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. Any other comments from folks who haven't gotten a chance to talk? Right. Well, thank you again, Matt, for your presentation.
All right. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. I look forward to working with you guys more.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
All right.
No.
Rachel,
Yes.
Rob Crum had sent me a message when he got reclassified on the Zoom. He got booted out and he wasn't able to get back in. So I wasn't sure if anything could be done about that.
I think he just needs to press the Zoom again and he'll go right back to where the general
Yeah,
attendees
he tried.
go.
It's not working.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
I don't know why that would be, but I will send him the link one more time through email.
'Cause I did it too, but I thought at the very least I'll call him and he can listen in on speakerphone.
Well, let me send it to him and
Okay.
hopefully it'll work for him.
Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah, and no problem at all. Next up for us is going to be the Tier 3 grant presentation. And I will be ready to go with that in just a moment. Okay. All right, so I'm going to ask everyone to reference on the page for this evening was included the memo that I'll be presenting right now. I wasn't going to share my screen, but I will read it out. And of course, you can go to the webpage and read the document yourselves. This is the Tier 3 Arts Grant recommendation for Urbana Arts Grant Cycle 2022. The Urbana Arts and Culture Commission's grant program offers artists and artistic groups supportive funding towards creative projects within the city of Urbana. In this 2022 cycle of Urbana Arts Grants program, we are awarding up to $90,000 in available funding to artists, arts organizations, and festival presenters for creative projects that enrich the lives of Urbana residents and visitors. The Tier 3 grant categories support special events and festivals with the city of Urbana, offering between $5,000 and $10,000 in financial support. In the Tier 3 category, $35,000 was earmarked as available to be awarded this year for special event presenters. The Arts and Culture Commission reviewed 5 applications this cycle and received corresponding presentations from each applicant in a special meeting. Our next step, which we've arrived at today, is for the Urbana Arts and Culture Commission to make a funding determination in this category. Your options are to approve the recommendation as I will present it, to approve the recommendation with any revisions, or to deny the recommendation. So those are 3 different options. Please note, you can vote on Tier 3 Urbana Arts Grant recommendations as a whole, or you can take them one by one. And I would like to present the following recommendation, which was derived through both the initial scoring completed by every Arts and Culture Commissioner, as well as their individual funding breakdown recommendations that were compiled, averaged, median, mode, and mean. And we took a look at how to, of course, make the most determination that best reflected your recommendations individually. And so for Tier 3 2022, the Champaign-Urbana Folk and Roots Festival presented by Champaign-Urbana Folk and Roots is a funding recommendation of $9,000. 2022 Pygmalion presented by Fine Bersoni Inc. is a funding recommendation of $6,000. The 2022 CU Black and African Arts Festival presented by CU Black and African Arts, funding recommendation of $3,000. 2022 Urbana Presents presented by Rose Bowl Tavern, funding recommendation of $8,500. And 2022 Pride Festival presented by Uniting Pride of Champaign County, a funding recommendation of $8,500. Included in the memo is an exhibit of summarized comments from commissioners, and I will read them as follows. 2022 CU Folk and Roots Festival, the comments summarized included, the festival offers an exceptional balance of local and national acts and is beloved to its supporters that keeps the community engaged, brings business, and promotes tourism in Urbana. Commissioners were impressed by the volunteer-run nature of the festival and its interactive and educational engagement. The budget presentation was balanced and quite detailed. There was clear innovation, growth, and implementation of previous year's feedback. There was a desire to see a more diverse funding stream in the future to support the event's financial sustainability. There's a desire to see more audio and visual musical work samples in future grant proposals. And in general, folks were impressed by the robust letters of support that helped cement collaboration. For 2022 Pygmalion, feedback is as follows. The festival is well organized, well managed, and a strong attraction for visitors and residents. The festival presents a high quality, diverse lineup of artists and creative sectors. The festival is an especially strong attraction for young people in our college town. There's a desire to see festival organizers collaborate more intentionally with local community groups across various parts of the festival's programming, including potential on-site volunteering or job opportunities for young people. The grant proposal should better detail the lineup and commitment to community integration the festival offers. And it was felt that there was lack of detail in the budget presentation, and unfortunately the minimum 70% cash match requirement was not met as the budget was outlined. It was recommended that work samples include video and audio documentation, and we would like to see an improved evaluation and metrics of impact. 2022 CU Black and African Arts Festival, feedback is as follows. The festival is well organized, well managed, and fills an important gap in arts programming for visitors and residents. The festival reaches across many creative sectors, offering experiences in multiple art forms. There was a clear and detailed successful collaboration with local organizations and groups. Letters of support in the future will improve proposals in evaluating community integration and collaborative partnerships. The grant proposal should better elaborate the way the festival is meeting Urbana Arts Grant program goals, and more details in the project narrative would be valued in the future. We'd like to see the festival expand to more than one day or spread activities out over a couple of days if possible. Budget items are carefully detailed, but unfortunately the minimum 70% cash match requirement was not met as how the budget was outlined. Next, 2022 Urbana Presents, presented by Rose Bowl Tavern. Feedback is as follows. Strong history of active and varied entertainment offerings in downtown Urbana, attracting a wide variety of performers, visitors, and collaborations with various ensembles. Wonderful use of production resources through the creation of Rose Bowl TV. Partnerships and in-kind donations with downtown businesses help promote tourism and economic activity, and downtown music activity is remarkable. Impressed by the inclusion of a robust evaluation, 300 plus survey responses gathered from patrons and positive feedback as a work sample. Would like to see more detail of the type of performances that will be presented and the way these reflect diversity, inclusion, and community integration. And would like to see some evaluation and metrics of impact of those things. 2022 Pride Festival, presented by Uniting Pride of Champaign County. Feedback is as follows. The festival is well organized, well managed, and fills an important gap in arts programming for visitors and residents. The festival offers a variety of activities for families and audiences of all ages, including participatory activities. The commissioners value that this is addressing an important need in the community, that of LGBTQAI inclusion, and value having the festival in Urbana after years of successful programming also in Champaign. Letters of support could improve future proposals in evaluating community integration and collaborative partnerships. And the commissioners would like to see a better detailed collaboration, better detailing of collaboration with local community groups across various parts of the festival's programming, including on-site volunteering or job opportunities for youth. That is the feedback presented and the funding breakdown as presented as a recommendation. At this time, we can have a discussion among the commissioners before taking any motions for a vote. And I should say, oftentimes we have a motion first and then discussion. Does anyone want to make a motion?
I so move that we accept the recommendations
As
for
stated.
tier 3.
A second.
Okay, now we have time for discussion. Howard seconded.
I think in some ways, some of the constraints that we had based on some of the deficits and some of the proposals made this a lot easier. I really liked all the proposals. I liked the things that people have done, but given that restricted to 6,000 for the Pygmalion and 3,000 for the Black and Art, it made it really easy to try to kind of fairly partition the rest of the money.
Other comments? Barbara, you still have your hand up, but not really, right?
Not really. I was listening intently. Sorry.
That's okay.
As a guideline for the future, I'm very interested, and you probably saw it in all my comments. I really want to see a very active part of every program going into the youth community, because all of the programs are relevant to the youth, and I think that as people going to the events, the adults have an easy time doing it because Urbana knows Urbana, but I don't want to see the kids get disenfranchised when we have such great stuff going on. As volunteers, and for one thing, some of these operations are probably going to keep appearing asking for money, and I think if they have to start growing the youth so that the youth take the place of the older folks who are eventually going to stop doing it, so that if, for instance, Folk and Roots wants to keep going, you know what I'm saying. I just, for many reasons, I want the youth to be actively involved in the proposals.
Yeah. Other comments? I have a whiny dog, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sarah.
I had just a comment about basically if there's grantees that are doing programming on the same days, ideally there would either be more cohesive connections between the different festivals or, just a little bit more fluidity to kind of promote other events happening, or on the other side, having more distinct weekends just dedicated for those particular festivals. That would just be my comment.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments? So we do have a motion on the table and it's seconded. If there are no other comments, you can take a vote at this time. We do have to do roll call vote, and I need to pull that up. So just give me 1 second here. All right.
Go
ahead.
Would you send that list to me too, please?
I will.
I'm current. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So do I hear that folks are ready for a vote, or would you like any more discussion?
I'm ready.
I'm seeing some nods. All right. Commissioner Fuller,
Approved.
Commissioner Headland,
Approved.
Commissioner Modica,
Approved.
Commissioner Rose,
Approved.
Commissioner Shine,
Approved.
Commissioner Buckman,
Approved.
and Commissioner Pinilla.
Approved.
Motion passes. Thank you, everyone. Next item on the agenda is the presentation of the 2022 Tier 1 and Tier 2 arts grants as forwarded by our independent juries. You don't vote on this per se, but they are presented first to the Arts and Culture Commission. And of course, if you have any concerns, you can raise them. But these are the selections that came from our independent juries this year. Get ready because you're going to hear my voice quite a bit. In previous occasions, when I've had an intern, I've brought them so that you don't have to only listen to my voice, but my apologies, we don't currently have interns with the Arts and Culture program. I do, however, want to say that one of our previous interns, Emily Luna, I have to shout her out, came to our jury meetings this past Sunday and did take feedback notes of the jury's deliberations for us as a volunteer, and that was tremendous. I have not renewed our internship programs because we're hiring, and I want to make sure I have time and space to truly train the person once we hire that person. But we really benefit from that kind of help. The following applicants have been approved for funding for the 14th cycle of the Urbana Arts Grant Program. The list below is a preliminary list of applicants and could be subject to change. However, we want to note that there are presentations of Tier 1, Tier 2, and Arts in the Schools. I'm going to begin with the Tier 1 category for 2022. Poems Across Urbana by the Urbana Free Library is recommended city sponsorship of $985. Poems Across Urbana brings together community members and local poets to write poems and display poetry throughout Urbana on yard signs displayed through the community, infusing poems into the Urbana landscape and the lives of residents. Next up is Read Across America Community Celebration by Urbana Park District, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,000. The Read Across America Community Celebration is a celebration promoting reading and literacy by providing multilingual hands-on activities, professional storytellers, and storytelling. Welcoming Week 2022 by YMCA of the University of Illinois, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,065. Welcoming Week is an annual celebration of the cultural diversity of Urbana-Champaign. From celebrations at the park to game nights, from live music to dancing and arts and crafts, the week highlights contributions of immigrants in our community and helps neighbors get to know each other. Next up is Mayanizado Urbana by the Hamabal Interpreters Collective, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,500. Mayanizado Urbana aims to amplify Mayan voices in the Champaign area through the amplification of a radio show called Culture of Our Ancestors, a space for cultural expression and distinct Mayan communities in the area by highlighting musicians, artists, and the vitalization of Mayan languages. I have a really upset dog. I'm so sorry. Can you hear her? Oh, terrific. You can't. She's only annoying me. Lovely. Central Illinois River Art and Poetry Project comes to us from Will Rieger, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,500. The Central Illinois River Art and Poetry Project is an exhibition of visual art and poetry celebrating local waterways through a visual representation of key places along the streams. The exhibition will highlight community, public performances, visual art, and writing promoting environmental health and ecology. Kudo Pro Show 2022 by Kudo, Champaign-Urbana Design Organization, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,200. The Kudo Pro Show is an exhibition of locally created professional creative work across disciplines, including illustration, typography, photography, print, web, motion, apps, and more. Aimed at offering an insider perspective on an assortment of both familiar and lesser-known works developed locally, the gallery show draws attention to the artistry of pieces that are not normally perceived as fine art. Next is See Who at the Show by See You at the Show, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,250. See Who at the Show 2 is an initiative of See You at the Show, amplifying the work of Black writers, actors, directors, and producers through a series of sponsored performances as part of a broader effort to center Black voices in the theater community. Next up is All Score Urbana, live and in person by All Score Urbana. City sponsorship in the amount of $1,400. All Score Urbana live and in person will connect and support composers, songwriters, and performers in a series of free public music composition workshops and concerts of new works. Next up is Axe is Everywhere by Lucas Borges de Santos and Leonardo Ventura. City sponsorship in the amount of $1,500. Axe is Everywhere is a documentary centered on the dissemination of Afro-Brazilian culture in the U.S. This initiative will gather and share stories and life experiences from members of the Brazilian Batucada and Capoeira groups in Urbana, resulting in a public screening of the film. Next up is Cross the Ocean at Urbana by Cross the Ocean Ensemble, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,500. Cross the Ocean at Urbana will connect local musicians interculturally, specifically with Chinese instrumentalists, to present different styles of music, ranging from classical to popular music, to promote connection within people through music collaboration across the borders. Next up is Jazz Workshop for Adults by Janelle Orcherton, city sponsorship in the amount of $900. The Jazz Workshop for Adults will provide a place to learn, create, and celebrate improvisational jazz music for adults who are new to their instrument, culminating in a public performance in downtown Urbana. That concludes Tier 1. Next up is Tier 2. First up is Boneyard Arts Festival 2022 by 40 North, city sponsorship in the amount of $4,500. Boneyard Arts Festival is a 3-day event showcasing the broad range of creative activity flourishing in our community. The festival stimulates cultural, economic, social, and educational growth by providing an opportunity for people of every age, every background, and every interest to participate. Its goal is to bring together local artists, business, and organizations for a unique and inspiring celebration of local art. Next up is Bridging the Art Divide, Black Music Series by Urbana Park District, city sponsorship in the amount of $2,000. Bridging the Art Divide Black Music Series will turn one of Crystal Lake Park's bridges into an art gallery, this time featuring the history of African American musicians that have played in the park. The resulting public art will become part of the forthcoming Champaign County African American Heritage Trail. Next up is Creativity on Wheels by Family Service of Champaign County, city sponsorship in the amount of $4,500. Creativity on Wheels will design and deliver meaningful art engagement activities specifically for older adults to reduce feelings of isolation, promote self-reflection and resilience, inspire positive thinking, and encourage community engagement. Next up is Tangero Workshop 2022 by Tangero Inc., city sponsorship in the amount of $4,500. Tangero Workshop is a week-long performance camp for adults and youth focusing on Argentine tango music, featuring music and dance workshops, performances, and jam sessions. Next up is Teen Art School Murals by Champaign Urbana Community Fab Lab, city sponsorship in the amount of $2,370. Teen Art School Murals is a teen-led mural creation for Urbana Middle School and Urbana High School, where teens from the schools will come up with a theme and design for 2 murals to promote school spirit, student empowerment. Next up is Unmute, Sound Engineering Training Initiative by Urbana Champaign Independent Media Center, city sponsorship in the amount of $4,380. Unmute Sound Engineering Training Initiative of the IMC will provide free instruction on beginner to intermediate level sound engineering for those underrepresented in the field, women, trans and non-binary people, and people of color in our community. Next up is She Spins Urbana, a camp for girls by Janaea Modis, city sponsorship in the amount of $2,500. She Spins Urbana is a week-long educational camp for girls aged 10 to 17, introducing them to the art of beat making, recording, and DJing. The camp includes hands-on training, historical and contemporary perspectives, assistance in artistic development, and culminates in a live public performance led by participating youth. Next up is DMT Music Festivals by Dance Music Therapy, city sponsorship in the amount of $2,250. Dance Music Therapy is comprised of DJs who utilize therapeutic properties of music to create safe environments that inspire fun, fellowship, and impact change. The music festivals offer a chance to connect, dance, and gather in artistry from May to October at the Lake House at Crystal Lake Park. Next up is Fiddle Weekend by Community Center for the Arts, C4A, city sponsorship in the amount of $3,000. Fiddle Weekend is an immersive weekend of fiddle workshops, jams, and concerts for all ages, focused on cross-cultural collaboration and culminating in a showcase concert featuring fiddle fusion and solo performances in which participants receive feedback from a professional fiddler and a free public concert by 5-time Illinois State Champion fiddler Charlie Walden. Next up is BIPOC Birth Arts and Storytelling Project by the Champaign-Urbana Birth Justice Initiative, city sponsorship in the amount of $2,000. Champaign-Urbana Birth Justice Initiative will host 4 BIPOC-led workshops, that is Black, Indigenous, People of Color-led, of pregnant and postpartum people. These events will include activities like belly casting and mapping, painting, collage making, and storytelling. These themed events will create a safe space in which BIPOC can share birth stories and express themselves through a variety of media. The themes include bonding, perinatal mental health, pregnancy, and infant loss. Next up is Urbana Pop's Orchestra Concert by Urbana Pop's Orchestra, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,750. Urbana Pops will present a full orchestra concert free of charge to the community and provide an educational opportunity for young musicians as they share a music stand with seasoned professionals. This year's concert will feature an animated fly-through of Urbana High School as it looked in 1913 when it first opened, with an original music score and film-like experience. Next up is Bread and Puppet by School for Designing Society, city sponsorship in the amount of $2,250. The circus is coming, the circus is coming. A 59-year-old Vermont-based Bread and Puppet Theater is coming to Urbana-Champaign for the first time with its iconic puppet circus, Fall 2022. Our domestic resurrection circus is a bright, raucous melee of short acts governed by a brass band, addressing the heart of the current moment with diverse puppetry styles and moods from slapstick to the sublime. Next is My Sugimoto in Residence by CU Jazz Festival, city sponsorship in the amount of $1,000. Mai Sugimoto is a Japanese-born saxophonist and composer living in Chicago. She'll come to Urbana for a multi-day residency during the CU Jazz Festival to lead community improv sessions, present a feature concert, and curate a composition and performance panel. And that is your Tier 2 list for 2022. Last but not least is our Arts in the Schools grant. So as a reminder, this is a grant category that we've turned into more of an honorable award for an application in the Tier 1 category that meets our requirements and eligibility for the Arts in the Schools grant. This grant in particular funds arts education that is part of the school curriculum. So it cannot be per se primarily an after-school program, but should collaborate with teachers during school hours as well. The recipient this year is Urbana Mixed Arts Student Showcase by the Urbana High School Film and Media Arts Club in the amount of $1,200. The Urbana Mixed Arts Student Showcase is a 10-hour multimedia arts exhibit spanning music, film, visual art, and performance for a diversity of teen artists, sponsored by Urbana High School's Film and Art Media Club and held at the Independent Media Center in Urbana. That is the conclusion of the full list of 2022 Tier 1, 2, and Arts in the Schools grants for this cycle. Any questions or comments from our commissioners about what you heard? And I know it was a list.
I'm trying to remember if we've ever had a list this large in the past.
It actually is not our longest list, but it probably feels like it because I'm the only one reading it.
Yeah, well, it's impressive that we have so much interest.
Yeah. It's not our longest list, but it is definitely long. And we definitely have more Tier 3, given your recent vote, more in the Tier 3 category than we ever have. Yeah. Any comments about what you heard?
I'm concerned that I've heard so much, and in my years in Urbana, I didn't know all this. So getting all this out to people like me who are receptive, is that problematic?
It's so hard. Yes, it's a beast. And it's ways that I think that you all also as commissioners can help be ambassadors, and really help share the word as much as you can. We have such a saturation of information in these days. We have the newsletters, we have the electronic calendars, we have, the print media, we have the flyers that go up still. And still sometimes I think it almost gets a wash with everything that we see, which makes some of the back to basics things like word of mouth and, just passing the word along so important. So that's something that I'll emphasize too is when they submit an application, they're invited to checkbox a number of things that we say are marketing strategies that kind of span electronic to in-person to print media to things like tabling or going word of mouth at events or giving announcements, but also radio, TV, all the traditional things. And they typically check a lot of things and tell me afterwards when they've given you a final report, they did a number of things, but still sometimes I think it's hard for us always to be on the receiving end and actually hear it all. So all I've learned is that multiple avenues are necessary all the time. The things that we also encourage them to do to break down barriers, such as putting things in multiple languages, trying to utilize existing relationships to help promote things. So, if you want to reach a particular population, are you sending that information directly to social services or nonprofits or groups that serve that population already so they can hand it directly? These kinds of methods, yes, they get a lot of support in thinking about that from me and from the program. And yet we all know it still doesn't always reach everyone. So with that in mind, yes, and help. Send it to everybody you can see. Yeah, that's very important. I know even folks like Janet on this call are nodding because it's just a chronic dilemma how to get all the information out about all the great things that are going on when you do events and programming.
Yeah. In spite of Facebook.
Yeah, which maybe, who knows? It's like some things could even be on the decline. We don't know.
I know that you go on CI Living from time to time. And I remember earlier on, we used to have opportunities where you go on a popular radio show and talk with the host and sort of give like a monthly report. Sometimes like the Cranach Center does. Once a month, they come in and they talk about their programs and what's going on. Is there a possibility, I know you're very busy, but is there a possibility that you could get on some of the more popular radio programs to also help get the word out?
I would love to. That I can make time for because I'm usually one that can ramble off the information without a lot of time spent prepping. So that's something I'm really willing to do. And I'll try to look for more opportunities. But if you see things like that and want to connect me, I'm generally pretty willing.
I'll be glad to help you.
Yeah, thank you. Well, overall, I'm just very impressed with the lovely assortment of submissions and applications that we receive. There's always more programs than the jury is able to fund that they wish they could fund. And that's the heartbreaking part of participating on juries is there's more, there's just wonderful things coming out. So anyone who did not receive funding or perhaps just wants some clarification or feedback on their proposal, no matter if they were funded or not, we do collect feedback and I will be sharing that with both the award or not awarded letter that will go out in the next few days to everybody who received or didn't receive an arts grant. That encourages them to ask for that feedback because we do create summaries on each applicant. And then we always encourage, that whether you've received a grant or you did not receive a grant this time around, look at some of the state grants that are also coming up. Illinois Arts Council grants are due very soon, so we often promote applying to those as well and pass along other funding opportunities that we see. But the best thing to do if you weren't funded and you are hearing this message is to ask for feedback because it could be some simple things that affected the funding this year, and correcting those things could be a great pathway to be funded in a future cycle. All right. That's all I have unless there's more questions. Go ahead, Frank.
I'm just surprised with Fine Bersoni and Pygmalion because they've always had really good proposals, and for them to have such a glaring deficit in terms of the documentation about the cash, I'm disappointed because I really wanted to see them have more. Mm-hmm. I think they're a great asset, and it was we were limited. Because I had an original proposal that was very, very different than once I got the clarification about what people could actually do. So, yeah, I just wanted to express my feelings about that.
In multiple categories. Yeah. I was going to say in multiple categories, we have had folks that didn't write the budget where they met their cash match, and it made them ineligible to receive the funding that they requested.
Yes,
That is oftentimes a challenge. And one thing that I had hoped that the software would be able to help us this time around flag those kinds of things for applicants. And it didn't quite function that way this time around. So they had to still be as diligent as we've expected them to be in previous years when they submitted paper applications, as it has to conform to the guidelines. And next year, my hope is that the software will be able to flag it. So it's on my list of things that my hope is the software can help people out, help people have a better application. So if you submit something and you don't show a cash match, I want it to be able to pop up something that says, hey, hold on, you actually can't apply in this category, or you're missing something. We're unable to give you the amount you're requesting. So that's the hope. Of course, now we're still living in the time where people just have to really notice those things before they click submit. But it's something that hopefully we can also help people get better at. Yeah. But I'm very proud, and one thing we do is we categorize based on arts sector, and I'm really proud to report that in all of our categories, we have hit almost as much diversity as we can have in terms of the creative sectors represented in our applications. So we've got theater, we've got music, we've got visual art, we've got multidisciplinary, we've got experimental fields, arts education, just quite a bit of things, and it's really lovely this year. So thank you all, both commissioners that served on juries. We do have a couple of commissioners that serve on each jury, as well as those of you, all of you, that took part in the Tier 3 application process.
Well, thank you, Rachel. And I know that January probably through March or April will be a busy time for you just in communicating with all the new grantees. So thanks for all your work on that.
Thank you.
A lot to keep track of, that's for sure. Do we have any other business to discuss today or review?
I don't believe so. I think that concludes the agenda items, at least.
Any special announcements by our commissioners? Anything to share? Any good news coming up?
Promote the new position. If you see someone that should work as a part-time person at the arts program, anybody that you think might be interested, please share it along. That's, I think, good news for me. Something that we've been waiting for a long time is to have a dedicated part-time staff person. That was something that every previous arts coordinator had, and I have not had, is a dedicated part-time person at between 10 or 20 hours a week. And I think it will be such a help for my work and the work of the arts program.
Rachel, just one little thing. I was going to mention to Giovanna that I work with a lot of the different printers here in town, and would be happy to give any recommendations if she wanted reps to talk with who maybe would
offer that up. And do you mind me just giving her your email?
That's great.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
I have had to wonder if all those people that said they were interested in her book, maybe they could form some sort of collective to help all of them help her get it published.
Yeah. What I love is that even when these projects have had to pivot or change a little bit, is I haven't seen anyone abandon a project. They finish at some point. And so I have no doubt in my mind that we're not going to see that book in our public library and things. It'll just take some time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Well, then are we at a point of adjournment?
Yeah.
Goodbye.
We can adjourn at 6:26 p.m. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.